All right. So here's where we're going to start off. We've got a couple of vendors that we're going to bring up. We're going to raffle off some more stuff. Remember, Mahogany Zan is outside. So if you want to do your comments, aha moments, things you learned, your satisfaction with, the summit or things you gained, you can go out there, you can put that on video. That gives you access to the swag up here, which are the hats and the t-shirts. We'll raffle off everything else. But I want to start off with this. Neil Tift actually hooked me up with this guy, and I thought that this was fascinating. I needed to make sure that everybody had one. This is a card. It's what I call they're called dad coins. I don't know how many of you any of you ever heard of dad coins? Got a dad coin? All right, so check this out. Besides me and Neil, so this is like good, Neil. All right, so this says, any man can be a father, but it takes a special person to be a dad. The supreme test of any civilization is whether or not it can teach men to be good fathers. You've heard both of those over the course of this summit. This dad coin that you will receive, it's the Great Dad coin. It contains its exclusive design. It's an exclusive design. Everything on this coin means something. The circle is an ancient universal symbol of unity. The outer ring has a continual chain link design symbolizing the everlasting and interlocking connection a father shares with his child. On the face and around the perimeter of the core are the core values every great dad possesses: love, honesty, patience, and commitment. The number 247365 represents our daily, weekly, and year-long commitment that we make as great dads. The bald eagle represents protection and guardianship. The banner includes a phrase, Magna Pater, which is Latin for great dad. In the center is a heart, just a universal symbol of love. On the reverse side of the coin and around the perimeter is the phrase, great dads are present physically, emotionally, and spiritually. While society puts a high price tag on dads supporting their children financially, it's equally, if not more important for dads, to have a meaningful physical, emotional, and spiritual presence in their child's lives. This keepsake each one of you will receive and can be carried around daily or proudly displayed at your home or your work. I thought it was important for each of you to get these. So we'll have staff that will be passing these out to you. All right, who do we got? Family Involvement Center. Sweet.
Thank you so much. My name's Mariana, and I'm here to represent the Family Involvement Center. And I just want to say it's an honor to rub shoulders with our awesome dads. You guys are stars in the sky, and we think you're rock stars. So thank you for being here. Thank you, Sleepy, for all your kind words and your great story. But Family Involvement Center's been around for 20 years. We were begun by a mom who saw the need for more parental voice in the child serving systems that she was in. So our organization is called Family Run because the majority of our board of directors and staff have lived experience. We've either been through the dark tunnel or we're going through the tunnel right now with our children, and we know what it's like. We offer moral support on the phone. We also offer excellent services like parent allies, like counseling, like parent support partners as other parents go through all those systems. We offer a variety of services for parents and caregivers of children. And I just want to say something we're very grateful for is being a recipient of a SAMHSA grant for the next 4 years. We have a grant to go out to spread the word about mental health, to also offer counseling to children that do not have insurance for trauma, and to support the parents. So that's underinsured and non-insured. So trauma is huge right now. We're starting to understand it. The general public is getting a clue. And we also offer trainings to professionals on a modality that can help with that called TBRI, trust-based intervention. And so we're very grateful for that. So please see us at the table. If you're interested in any of that, we offer our services as free as possible. So thank you so much. Would you like to say something?
Yeah, I just wanted to speak about the Nurturing Fathers program, which is a part of FIC. Basically, what we do is we kind of just get in there, get into the families, and provide services to fathers. In most of these cases, like everyone here has been talking about, there's usually not services for dads. Like I got very lucky when I was doing my case. The lady on the phone with me was like, "Have you noticed that there's no programs that are based on dads?" And I was like, "Yeah, actually." And she referred me to this. I had my own DCS case going on, and I was doing the 24/7 Dads program. Just like Sleepy had said earlier, a lot of dads, they'll go and keep going, and then restart like that. I did 24/7 Dads, and then they got this Nurturing Fathers thing. I did Nurturing Fathers the first time, and I liked it. Did Nurturing Fathers the second time, and I liked it. And then they said they liked me, and then now I work here, and now I work with dads. So it's really, it comes full circle for me personally, but it's also just that's kind of a testament to how good the program is. I learned so much, like just being in this, and I learned also so much just about being a dad. I was already a good dad. I thought I was a good dad in the first place. I always wanted to be a dad. And then I learned all this stuff, and even being here today and yesterday, all this other stuff, and it compounds that and just makes you even greater. And it also teaches dads we matter. Like a lot of the system is going to tell you the opposite. Like they're going to exclude you from things, but we matter, and it's more than just mattering. It's like we're a necessity in our kids' lives. So every dad can benefit from it. Even like I said myself, I already thought I was a good dad. So, and now I'm like probably 3 times the dad I was before. So, it's an amazing program. We make amazing dads. So, get involved. If you know any dads struggling, no matter how, from A to Z, doing anything, tell them about us. Get them in there, and we work all over the valley. I personally, I go to my dad's houses. I go to their homes, and they live all over the place. So there's nothing we can't do to help you.
Hold that.
All right, we have 622037.
622037. Yeah, he is right about Craig, about the Nurturing Fathers program. It's not just, dads that have issues. Basically, we say if you have a child that's younger than 24 years old, that's what qualifies you. Any man can get information and we all can become better men, better husbands, better fathers. Not one of us in here is so great that there's nothing that we cannot learn, that nothing that we cannot improve. And so that's why we make it available to just a large population. Sleepy, the Family Information Center, they do it well. ManCave, we do it. Nurturing Fathers program, marriage and parenting program, we work together to do these things. We've got some exciting things coming out that we're going to be doing together. We're basically just trying to reach fathers, male role models, to let them know that you can make it. In a society that wants to beat them down and say, we don't need a man, Sleepy will always tell you, but your kid needs a man. Yep. So that's it. So who we got next? Child care resources, and it's the gift card, Amazon gift card. That's the other one. Oh, man. Oh, no, this fancy one right here. All right.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. My name is Ana Karen Maldonado, and I'm a community engagement specialist with Child Care Resource and Referral. I work in Maricopa County, but Child Care Resource and Referral, or CCR&R, is a statewide program where we provide free resources and services for families that are looking for child care. We provide child care options, but then we also provide other resources that parents may have. But we have 2 services. We have an information line, and we have a website. So parents or anyone in the community really can call our information line, and we can get them, not only childcare, but any questions, any concerns that people may have. We can help them with that. Also, our website. So our website is not only a place where you can come and find more information about us, but it's also a resource so parents can look for childcare there. They can put their zip code, and then they're gonna see options populate for them. Sorry. But yeah, and I also want to mention another service that we have. We have, every month we have an information session, and this is for anybody who might want to become a child care home provider, meaning that they want to own their own home-based child care business. So, if anybody has any questions or wants more information about this, you can stop by my table and we can talk a little bit more about it. I do want to mention that anything that we do at CCR&R is to help children thrive in their communities. So thank you, and this is a great event. Thanks for having us, and we look forward to coming again. Thank you for having me. I love to hear that. I love that we can help. So it's 622025. 622025. No one.
You gotta be here to get it. All right, because if she goes back in and all of a sudden you stand up and say you got it, you out.
Do you want to keep this one? Yeah. Okay, so 622095. Are you serious? 622095.
Gift card to Amazon. You mean 59?
No.
All right, they're not here either. Let's go for 3.
Let's go for 3. Oh, there's more people coming in. Okay. Okay, 622048. Oh, yay.
Southwest Human Development.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for giving us all this time. Thank you to everyone who put on the ManCave event. My name is Caitlin Parr. I am from Southwest Human Development in the Literacy Department.
And I'm Laura Cerna with the Literacy Department as well. And Caitlin's going to tell you about some of our programs that we have at Southwest Human Development. And then I'm going to tell you about specifically our Let's Talk Dads program here in a moment.
So Southwest Human Development is Arizona's largest nonprofit for kids birth to 5 here in Arizona. We have over 40 different programs, and we have all kinds of different things for those kiddos, whether it's mental health services. We work with kinship care and adoption, and specifically we are in the literacy department, so we work with some of the literacy programs that we have. One of our biggest things is a statewide resource called the Birth to 5 Helpline. The Birth to 5 Helpline is available for anyone, whether it's a parent, a sibling, a babysitter, a grandparent, a professional, anyone who needs information about kiddos birth to 5. The Birth to 5 helpline is staffed from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Friday by child care professionals, and they are happy to answer questions about whether it's feeding, whether it's potty training. I have had questions about siblings who are welcoming home a younger sibling. They're not getting along so well. They're really, really good about having that conversation with you. And essentially what they do is they talk you through it, they hear your feedback, they listen to what's going on, and they try and give you resources to help you with that. They're also really, really good if you are looking for information about programs that you qualify for. I know that it's really hard as a parent to find programs that work with you, and you have to wade through things like income requirements or zip code requirements, and that is something that the Birth to 5 helpline staff will help you navigate and help you find your way through. And I will pass it over to Laura to talk about our Let's Talk Dads program.
All right, so since this is a father-focused event, we really wanted to highlight our Let's Talk Dads program that we will be having throughout all of 2023. We're currently recruiting dads for this really exciting program. This is a really cool program that we partnered with the University of Chicago and the TMW Center for Learning. Dads who participate in this program, it is a 6-week online virtual program that's designed exclusively for dads because we understand the important role that fathers play in their children's lives. And they get to meet with other fathers for 6 weeks for about 90 minutes to learn all kinds of different strategies that they get to use to build their child's brain through their everyday interactions. So you will be getting books that are very father-based, such as this one here. So they are high-quality, developmentally appropriate books that are designed to really highlight the important role that fathers play in their children's lives. We do offer them bilingually, and also they are developmentally appropriate for your child. So we do ask for your child's age so that way we can make sure we curate books for you and your children. And again, so if you are interested, we do have our table out front here where we have flyers about how you can enroll in our Let's Talk Dads programming.
And one more thing, we are also recommending our Raising a Reader program today. Raising a Reader is an 8-week series of programs for any caregiver. I have facilitated it. I've had aunts, I've had grandparents, and it's more playgroup based. It's really fun because you get to come with your kiddos, you get to sing, you get to dance, you do crafts, we talk about a new book every week, and we help you become your child's first and best teacher. We give new resources, and we just have a really, really wonderful time. If you're interested, we do have flyers. You can also find us on swhd.org. And if you are ever interested in disseminating resources, getting your programs out to people, we are so, so happy to partner with you and give out your resources as well. And that is our time, I think. Thank you all so much.
We're raffling off this really lovely bag of literacy goodies.
Number is 622093. Yay!
So another opportunity for dads. Reading literacy, critical. Arizona, our score's not so high, and that's why we focus on it. Does anybody know or have an idea how they determine the number of prison beds they put into the state? Does anybody know what that's based on? Your third grade reading levels. They go in and look at third grade reading levels. That's how they determine how many prison beds they're going to build. Yeah. All right. All right, so here we go. I want to introduce somebody to you who has been my sidekick for a long time when we started this program. Like, I went to Latricia and was like, can we do this? We have a fatherhood initiative. Can we just kind of create something out of this? And you know what? It's great when you have women that have a desire to want to push fathers to be great. And that's what Latricia wanted. She came along beside me and said, we can do this. And then she left. She retired. She retired from the city. But she left me in a great place that we were just able to just launch. And so we're going into our Man Talk time where I want to have 3 guys that just have significant stories or are doing significant things in our community, just to give you an idea of the role and the potential role that men can play. We've heard from Sleepy. We know that you can overcome any obstacle. And Sleepy, I want to let you know that our online blew up with appreciation for you just sharing your heart and being real, transparent, and even being vulnerable with us. So we certainly appreciate that. So I'm going to have Latricia come up and introduce our first guest.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Latricia Centers, and I'm very excited to be here as a participant. And I just want to give a shout out and much love to Marion Hill, Jennifer Dancy, and others that have coordinated this wonderful 2-day event. I think I did a great job with starting us off with coordinating such a great event, and Marion and the team has just taken it to new, higher heights and beyond. I would like to introduce our first guest speaker, who's going to be sharing information about his own fatherhood experience and his own journey in life. I actually met him just a couple of months ago through the HBCU college tour. My daughter is in high school, She's a high school senior, and she came to me late last spring and said, I want to go on this tour. I have to write an essay. And I said to myself, good luck with that one, because we need some help with writing skills. And I said, you draft the essay from your heart, and whatever you want to say, I will review it and edit it. And I was super proud that she needed only a few edits, was submitted, and the guest speaker that I'm about to introduce had to review all the applications, and there was about 95 kids and chaperones that went on the tour this past October, and I have to say it was a life-changing experience for my daughter. She was born and raised in the Phoenix, Arizona area, and she wanted to go on and experience a college tour that would allow her access and exposure and experience of seeing what college life would look like for her if she were to attend an historically black college university. And so she came back really a changed young lady and very inspired by that experience. So with that said, I'm going to introduce Brother George Charles III. He is a member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, and he is a father and a wonderful person that I would like to share his life journey with all of you. And he is the main coordinator of the HBCU College Tour, and he's going to speak about that a little bit as well. So without further ado, please give a round of applause to Mr. George Charles III.
Good afternoon. Can y'all hear me all right? All right. So Latricia may have embellished a little bit. I don't think I'm that much to be special about, but I'm truly honored to be here. As Latricia mentioned, I do lead a college tour, but more importantly, I have lived a life that as a young man, I'm probably younger than most people in here, but as a young man, I've been through a lot. And so I'm originally from Winston-Salem, North Carolina, moved out here in 2015. After graduating, so I'm young. I am young. But my life did not start without any types of trials and tribulations, right? One of the things that I saw as a young man, or that I heard as a young man, was the devil cannot kill what already has purpose. And understanding that, I never knew what that was going to look like for me. I am a third, so I'm named after my grandfather, God rest his soul, as well as my father, God rest his soul as well. And coming up from Winston-Salem, North Carolina, it's a small city in North Carolina, but it's a rough city. Right? Not kind of like South Phoenix, but it's a little different being on the East Coast. And growing up from my mother, Tina Murphy, who I have tatted on my right arm, and my father, who is tatted on my right wrist, they did everything that they could to provide me with an opportunity to see what life would look like. Well, the unfortunate part about that was I grew up in a rough neighborhood, hearing gunshots every night, hearing the ambulance run all throughout the night, and not knowing that I was becoming a part of the statistics that had already been placed upon myself, right? The one thing that we hear as young black men is that you won't make it to 18. And if you do make it to 18, well, you're going to end up in jail, right? You're going to have a child at a young age. But more importantly, you're going to fail. And my mother, my father, they were going through a very, very rough patch when they had me, right? So as the gentleman right here spoke about the Department of Child Services, my parents I was actually a part of that as well, right? And my mom and my dad had a very, very ugly custody battle with me. And not knowing what was going on, I just knew something was not right. And as a child, the one thing that we think that our kids are so beyond the understanding and comprehension of what's going on, the reality is I can remember everything so vividly. Well, blessings to the Most High, my mom was able to get me away from that situation and move me into a different home. But at the age of 8, I lost my father. And the one thing that I regret the most about losing my father is I never got a chance to say goodbye, right? I never got a chance to say goodbye. I never got a chance to just tell him how much I loved him. I never got an opportunity to just spend one more day with him, right? And I never went to the funeral. And my mom asked me, said, do you want to go? And I said, no. As a young 8-year-old man, a young boy, how can you ask him to make that choice? But I'm so thankful that she did, because the reality was I don't know how I would have handled that. My mom ends up getting married to my stepfather, a great man, but he didn't have the best relationship with his father. So he was just learning how to do the very, very simple thing that I've seen on this previous slides a few times. Just be present, right? And so as they go through things, I watch my mom and my stepfather, they both lose their jobs. So I see the struggle from that, right? And I see how difficult that was constantly going through that. Well, not only did I lose my father, I began to lose myself. As a former athlete playing basketball and football, I began to lose who I was as a young man. I was angry, right? I did everything that fit into the stereotypes of a young black man because I just wanted to fight, because I was trying to survive. And the reality is, as I was trying to survive, I could not recognize, as I looked in the mirror, who God was creating me to become. And I remember in a basketball game, my family's in town, and in the middle of the game, I'm getting ready to fight somebody because I was so angry. And I go to college. I go to HBCU, North Carolina A&T State University, and I get there, and I should have been kicked out. I was on academic probation for 8 semesters straight because I could not seem to focus. I was fitting again into the stereotypes. I see gentlemen in here who had dreadlocks. Well, I had dreadlocks as well. And every time I went somewhere, I was constantly targeted, and I never had an opportunity to have somebody sit me down and say, when you are pulled over by the police, be quiet. Your goal is to get home. And by the grace of God, I did. Every time. But it wasn't without any more trials and tribulations, because I would be out some nights, guns would be put out on me and my friends because I was different. And I didn't see it, but God did. And as I'm on academic probation, I lose my great-grandmother. I lose my great-grandfather, who was an amazing man. See, it felt like all the male role models that I had in my life were constantly leaving. And then God said, I'm going to show you something about you that you need to see. He sent me mentors in college. One such mentor, he asked me, a math teacher, he asked me, what do you want out of my class? I had to get off academic probation. I said 8 semesters, right? 8 semesters. I said, I need to get a B out of your class. And because I wasn't prioritizing my education, he said, well, you're really an A student. The mentorship that I needed to hear that. You're really an A student. But you sit in the back of the classroom. No discredit, nobody's in the back of the room, I promise. I promise. You sit in the back of your classroom. You come to class when you want to come to class. You joke around. And everything that he said was what I needed to hear. Truth. See, the thing is, black men, or as men in general, we don't want to hear is the truth. But I needed to hear that. And he said, you're really an A student, but you settle. And that was one of the men that changed my life. And as I got off academic probation, I graduated with a 3.2 GPA. I have a master's degree. I'll be a doctor in less than 2 years. You cannot tell me that when you have a purpose in this life, that there's anybody that can stop it, despite what you have going on. And I remember the way that I coped with my angers was with my college sweetheart. She asked me one time, why are you so angry? And it was the first time I realized that I had never coped with my dad being gone. I had never coped. 14 years, I had never coped with that. And she helped me go visit him. And that was the first time I knew what healing felt like. The first time, because I cried. I let out every bit of pain that I had built up. And so now, as I reflect back, one of the things, as Latricia mentioned, I am a member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. I do work with our Young Man program. I have worked with the Department of Child Services, working with parents, more importantly, the men. But the greatest lesson that I have is being blessed to be a father now. A beautiful baby girl that was born earlier this year. And the one thing that I remember telling somebody recently, I said, I got to make sure that I stay in tip-top shape, that I stay mentally sharp, that I stay emotionally invested, because I want to spend more than 8 years with my child. So now, as I work with HBCUs, college students, high school students as well, I've been blessed to send over probably 50 students since I started this tour 4 years ago to HBCUs. But more importantly, throughout our program, we have a 100% graduation rate. Why is that important? Why is that important? Because as fathers, the one thing that we know is just by stepping up, showing up, and making sure that they are heard, right? I'm not nobody's father to those young men, but they look to me as a father figure because I'm present, right? And the thing about life is we can get so many gifts, but the greatest gift that you can open is spending time and realizing how valuable time is to those who never knew how much they wasted by not prioritizing life. So now, I have started this HBCU tour since 2019. I have sent all these young people to HBCUs. I got some kids that are getting ready to graduate from college now. I'm a father, full-time PhD student. I work 6 jobs. Why? Because I want to be retired in 10 years to say I can spend time with my child and give her everything that she needs, right? The battle is not who starts the fastest, but who has the will to fight to the end. And one thing I know about all these amazing men in here, these fathers, is that we got a journey. Don't matter how we started, as long as we're present to keep fighting through it, we will be all right. Appreciate y'all.
What? You can't tell me the fathers don't have impact, not only on their kids and their families, but in the community. We have that kind of power. This is what ManCave is about, is letting you know we're here. Man, I'm like Sleepy when we was in the Nurture Fathers program, man. Sleepy just went off and just started cheering because that's who we are, and it should excite you. It should excite you that there are men like this in the community. Overcome. I mean, dog, I'd have flunked out of school. To be on probation for that long, but then to want to overcome that, and now a few years away from a PhD? What? Yeah, I'm not even going to go on any longer. Let me bring somebody in front of you that's gone through our Nurturing Fathers program. Fantastic story. Love this brother. And guess what? This is the first time that he and I have met face to face. We've done all of this via online for COVID. GIno, come on, man. Talk to us. See, I'm glad I have to see him face to face. He's a big boy, man. All right, man. Yeah.
First and foremost, can y'all hear me? All right. So I just want to say this. I'm not politically correct. So I don't have that space in my life. It's been an interesting one, I'll tell you that. I'm from Phoenix. So I was born here. I was born at the county hospital. I grew up at the Motel 6 on 24th Street in Van Buren. Anybody familiar with that area? We talking about the early 90s. Anybody know about that life? So, I didn't ask for that life, but I was born into that. My mom was a crackhead and a prostitute. My dad drove cab for AAA. Anybody remember AAA Cab Company? So I went to Wilson Elementary. Anybody in here went to Wilson? Or anybody know where Wilson is? Wilson, yeah, Wilson Elementary? Yeah. Oh, absolutely. They told me I was special ed. They didn't understand the type of pressure that I was under during that time in my childhood. People running in and out, seeing things that no child should see. All my sisters, I have 3 sisters, they had children before they were 15, all of them. So sometimes when I tell this story, and when I tell it to myself, it's, how do I explain it? I feel like I'm making it up, like literally. Like I feel, because like as this apparition, as this person sitting in front of you right now, I'm not supposed to be here, like the survey would say. I have no reason to be here other than sheer grit. So in 2000, my dad called me and he said, I'm gonna come home and make you something to eat. I didn't want that. So I wanted Chinese food from Tam's. Anybody in here remember Tam's? Come on now. Over there on Broadway? Man, oh man, them fried chicken wings, oh my God. Oh my God. Don't play with me. Don't play with me. Man, so I didn't want that. So my dad, he was my best friend. And our love language together was food. He would cook, one of his favorite things, he'd wake me up at 3 o'clock in the morning and make white rice. And, he's from the South, but I like butter and sugar with my rice. So I don't do the salt. Even with my grits, I want butter and sugar. And with a little biscuit, it's really going down. So he would make fried pork chops and some butter and rice with some sugar. So, but I didn't want that night. I wanted Chinese food. Well, that was the last time I spoke to him. He was robbed and killed in front of Tam's. So that was my best friend. That was the only person that I know that I had. That did something interesting to me. It heightened my psychic awareness because I seen it happen before it happened. People, when I tell this story, they ask me, like, would I change anything? I believe in sacrifice, and I believe in suffering. You have to learn what you're willing to suffer for. And you're going to have to sacrifice something in order to change that narrative. And I stand here before you today to say that my dad sacrificed his life for me to break that cycle. Because when that happened, I met a man by the name of Kurt Boxrud. He owns a real estate company out here named Apartment Hunters. He was my basketball coach at the time because I was bullied in elementary because I've been this size since 7th grade. They used to call me Gorilla Man. When you wear a size 15, 16 and, I'm in 4th, 5th grade, walking around telling a teacher I'm not going to do that. Like, you're not going to make me do that. Like, no. So it was just an awkward time, and I was broke. I was, funky. I didn't have no shoes, no clothes, no love until I started playing basketball. And everything that was used against me became my outlet. So, fast forward a little bit. So my basketball coach, his name is Kurt. He took me in. And for the first time in my life, I was terrified on a whole different level because I moved out to the suburbs, to Ahwatukee. And it was terrifying because I knew that people exist. I just couldn't hear them. It was quiet. That silence destroyed every concept of what I thought life was. That stability, hearing the word hors d'oeuvres, like my stepmom would be like, hors d'oeuvres, but it taught me so much. It showed me what is possible because I've never seen that. I've never had, I remember washing my underwear and putting them in the microwave so I can go to school, to dry them. And I'm not saying this for sympathy or empathy. This is still part of my healing. It doesn't stop. So I'm saying this to kind of let you guys know, and if there's anybody out here who has a story, which we all do, I'm challenging that narrative. So I don't have a speech written, so I'm just going to go along with it. So after that happened, and I went there, I took all that anger, because like you, I never dealt with that, with losing my father. I still haven't dealt with it. And I don't know if it's going to happen in this lifetime. Not because I'm afraid of it, but because I understand it. And it's okay. Like, I'm okay. So I took all that anger, all that energy, all that negativity, and I put it into football. So this kid who's special ed, this kid who came from nothing, this kid who had no support, ended up getting a full ride to the University of Wisconsin. So, thank you. Thank you. But something interesting happened there. I learned something about survivor's remorse. I hit a whole different mountain. Now we start getting into, you don't deserve this. You know you're not good enough, right? You know people like you don't make it. I couldn't sleep at night. I was there. I earned it. I put my all into it. But I didn't feel like I deserved it. So naturally, what we do is when we don't heal, we go back into what's comfortable, which is what we see. Failure, lack of resources, lack of opportunity. See, I didn't know how big of the opportunity I had. And I didn't just get a scholarship to Wisconsin. I played. I know what it's like to hit somebody from Michigan. If there's any Michigan fans out here. I still got issues with y'all. No. So that happened. I gave myself what I needed, which is I wanted to reaffirm that narrative that I wasn't good enough. And so I lose my scholarship at Wisconsin. Okay, so I get kicked out or whatnot, and all of a sudden, all the friends and all the support who was rooting for me, man, gone. Like, you know, my own family. I remember my oldest brother, who still hasn't challenged his narrative. Not trying to judge him. He said, "You let us down." I called him. He's my big brother. I called him because I'm lost now. I'm lost in the sauce. Life is fully I'm out there just floating. And he was like, you know, you messed this up for us. Us? So you were studying with me? so you've been out there? Man, and if anybody know anything about Division I sports, it's a battle. So I'm like, so I went to a place that was really, really dark. It took me about a decade to get out. I started asking myself questions like, what was so important about crack cocaine that my mom didn't love me? I actually had to sit down and realize that I have a mother wound and a father wound. And who's going to fix that? And then God decided not to be offensive to anybody. I don't know what y'all believe in, but I believe in God. So, and I'm telling my story, so please forgive me on that. But God decided to say, you know what, I know what you need. I'm going to put a baby on you. So, you know, come 2010, I have a son. His name is Zaza Kali. And that triggered every issue that you can imagine. I was dying every day. I've been a healthy person my whole life. I cannot make this up. I was in and out of the ER. Almost every week I thought I was having a heart attack. Then I learned about PTSD. Because I lost my father and I didn't deal with it. And everything I seen in that young man triggered everything inside of me. And I became an alcoholic. I was selling drugs, trying to provide for my family. I was repeating a cycle. That's the truth. I didn't know how to stand up. I didn't know how to step up. I was repeating the cycle. So after that happened, I really met God in a real way. And I'm telling you some parts that are really vulnerable because I'm pretty sure I went crazy for a little bit. God made me sit down, and I started shooting blue and green beams out of my center. And I started challenging that narrative. I ended up having 3 other children with their mother. I lost everything. 2 years ago, I was homeless. My kids were taken away from me, not because I'm a bad person, but because I was with a woman who understood how to work the system. You see, all I wanted to do was be a good dad. And when somebody who's not healthy for you, they'll know what you want, and they will make you a slave to it. I was a slave to that. But I say that to say this. How I met Marion, I was in the process of taking full custody of my children. So I stand here today, like I told him on the phone the other day. that Nurturing Fathers program, it helped me in so many ways because I have 3 daughters. It showed me how to actually be vulnerable. I have a good woman in my life, that woman back there, thank you, who was supportive and helped me, help me get my children. And I don't know how much time we got, but that program really changed my life. It showed me the beauty in my essence as a man. It showed me that I already braided hair, but now I understand why I'm braiding my daughter's hair, why I'm painting my nails, why my toenails are painted. Like it started showing me I'm gonna be the first man that they ever love. I have to set that standard. Like I gotta do that. And so despite all the pain and all the anguish, and I'm telling you the tip of the iceberg because there's so much more to this, it could be a book. And I respect everybody's time, but how this all ties in is by me challenging that narrative and going through that pain. I learned to help others while I'm healing myself. I went from homeless to missing my kids to I have full custody of all of my kids. I own a residential treatment facility. That's mine. I am currently in that process of truly getting out of poverty. My kids have never seen roaches. They don't know what Kool-Aid tastes like. And I'm a vegan. So, and I'm not bragging, but what I'm saying is this is what progress looks like. It's messy. It's ugly. It's painful. But we got to do it. And I don't have to be perfect. I was late on my way here. I was like, maybe I should have wrote a speech. I said, no, I just got to be authentic. It is what it is. It is what it is, and tomorrow it's going to be that too. So thank you for your time. I would like to get information on everybody. I believe in promotion and growth. I'm honored to be here. And like you, I want to spend a lot of time with my children too, so thank you, buddy. Really, thank you. Thank you all for your time, okay? Thank you.
This is why we do what we do. Let's sit right here. As much as we can feed into these guys, they feed just as much into me. I look at my son different. I look at my wife different. I treat my son, I nurture my son different. I treat my wife different. Why? Because I have men around me that push me to be great as I try to push them to be great. That's what Nurturing Fathers is. Leondis, come on up. Well, here, Leondis, take a quick break, hit our panel, and we'll be on the road. You got some things in front of you. You have this little document right here. This is our little business card. It opens up, tells you everything about ManCave. There's a text app on there, QR code on there that takes you to Greater Phoenix Urban League website. But hit that text app because it allows you to communicate with me, and I can communicate with you 2 ways. It allows us to send information out about what we're doing and what's coming, and there is more coming. Like Sleepy and I are so excited we don't even know what to do with ourselves because we've been talking about what we've got coming. All right.
Hey, let's get this ManCave a hand praise. Now, don't give me one. Give this ManCave a hand praise. First of all, I feel truly honored to be before you all today and yesterday. I met Marion 3.5 years ago when I first moved out to Arizona from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Where the Wisconsin guy at? All right. And if anyone have looked at the news over the years, Milwaukee has become a very, very violent city. I grew up in Milwaukee from the age of 6. And it's a good thing that I don't look like what I've been through. I'm 64 years of age. Look good for that. I know it. You ain't got to say it. You ain't got to say it. But my wife and I, we moved out here to the Phoenix area 3.5 years ago. And Marion was one of the first men practitioners or individuals I met in Phoenix dealing with fathers. In Milwaukee, I developed my own fatherhood program. I work with fathers in prison, community, and something inspired me to do that. I'm going to briefly share that with you all this afternoon. I'm the son of an alcoholic, abusive father. I had 4 other siblings. My father and mom separated when I was age 6. And from that time, my mother always told me, your father is no good. He beat her. He drank all the time. And he pretty much neglected his children. He did that because he didn't know no better. And that's what's happening with so many of our dads today. They don't know any better. And it's our job to make sure they can get better by knowing better. I love my dad more than anything in the world, but he caused so much pain. An emptiness inside of me, the invisible image of what a real father was. Whenever he came around to see me and my brothers and sisters, he was drunk. He never gave us anything. All he took from us was the love that we had for him that he did not deserve. But all I knew was he was my father, and I love him. Big as a mess that he was, I loved him. And I said, I'll never treat my kids the way he treat us. I will never be like him. And he and my mother separated at age 6. So now we really didn't have a male figure in our lives. And I thank God, and I give all praises to single mothers that have done what they had to do to raise their children without their father. And my mother is my champion. Now, she always shared with me whenever I got into trouble, because I believe I'm a split image of my father. She always would tell me when she got angry, you remind me of your no good father. So all I knew coming up was, I got to be like him because that's the way I'm getting recognition. So she valued education. And she ended up sending me and my brothers to the Milwaukee Boys Club, where we could get mentoring from older male figures, and I thank God for them. I ended up, through my elementary, middle school, and even high school, with the highest academic scores that I could strive for. After high school, after junior high school, I went to a private parochial boarding school for boys that was 180 miles from Milwaukee. Today, that same school is a prison. I went to school there. My sophomore year, I came back to Milwaukee looking for something. Have any of you heard of the rites of passage? From infanthood to manhood. And so many of us as African Americans, at least in the hood, I'm gonna call it the hood, because I could call it the ghetto, which I was raised, is where you go from infanthood to childhood, boyhood to teenhood, and then manhood, hopefully husbandhood, then fatherhood. I became a father at 15. So I skipped a whole lot of those rites of passage because I tried to identify myself as a man by fathering a child or having conquest with females. Going to an all-boys school, whenever I got the opportunity, I had to prove that I was a man. And the way we did that was by sexual conquest. Now, I ain't in here by myself. That's okay. Y'all ain't got to say nothing. And the sad thing about it, I became a father at 15 and didn't know the first thing about it. I didn't have a role model to look at. My dad surely wasn't one. So my mother and the mother of the lady that I impregnated said, we're going to raise this child because y'all don't know what the hell y'all doing. And I thank God for that. But later on, I'm going to speed up this here little presentation. Later on, the school closed down on me after my junior year. I was a prominent basketball player, had hopes of going to college to play college ball. All that was taken away from me. I was smoking weed as soon as I went into high school, drinking beer here and there, and it became a full-blown addiction. By the time I was to age 30, I had a free-base cocaine drug habit of pretty much $400 to $500 a day. I was a chronic alcoholic in 1990, where I had to drink to get up, drink to go to sleep, and smoke dope all in between. In 1990, I was weighing 129 pounds, a pumpkin on a stick, all head and feet, nothing in between. It had a big old head that just bony as I don't know what. And called myself with a tough walk that I was a man. But anyway, the wind blew, it just would have took me out. At this particular time, I had my son when I was 15, and I had 2 additional children by a lady that I ended up marrying. I ended up going into treatment 3 times, and on the 3rd time I went to treatment, it worked. My counselor, who became my mentor, he said, what length are you willing to go through to beat this drug problem? I said, whatever it takes. He said, leave your wife. I said, wait a minute, man, wait a minute. This is my kid's mother. But she was an addict too. He said, you can't get clean in a dirty house. And before I went into treatment, my 14-year-old stepson, she was 2 months pregnant when I met her. My 14-year-old stepson came in the hallway where me and the drug dealer were standing talking. My son walked right past me, went to the drug dealer and said, let me have $5. I said, boy, what's wrong with you asking this man for some money? He said, well, Dad, he got all of yours. That was my wake-up call. That night, I got so high, I was left for dead. When I got up, I asked him to pass the pipe to me again. After that, I went into treatment for the 3rd time. This time it worked. I left my kid's mother, my wife, and said it's time for me to get my life together for my kids. Because they didn't have a parent to go to. They didn't have a parent to show them the love that they deserved. And I knew that I couldn't leave them out like this. And they told me I would never amount to be anything. But at that treatment time, I got up, I looked up, and I was saying, I need you, God. God picked me up, turned me around, placed my feet on solid ground. And from that day forward, I went back to college. For 2 years, got the highest academic grades that anyone can accomplish in a community school, became the valedictorian as a person getting off of drugs. After that, I became a Baptist minister. 3 months after that, the biggest and most challenging thing that in my life ever happened to me. My 12-year-old son was killed in a drive-by shooting. It took everything out of me, and I didn't go back to dope or alcohol. I said, there must be a purpose for this. Began doing drug and alcohol counseling to families. Wisconsin was under welfare reform. I left the counseling job and began to work with families, restoring families, because I knew mine had been torn apart. So it was my mission to help people find the right way to raise their families. 7 years later, I decided to go back to college to get my bachelor's degree. That time again, I became the valedictorian. It was 3 years that it took me to get my bachelor's, and I got it in a year and a half. When I crossed the stage, it was one of the best things that happened to me. 3 months later, my second oldest son, my junior, age 21, was shot 7 times and he died. That was 2 tragedies that impacted my life, and I said, God, it must be a reason this is happening. What will I have to do? And I felt that no father, hear me, men, no father should be cheated out of having a relationship with his children. Because from the time I got clean and sober to when I first went back to college, I've just reestablished and built a strong relationship with my sons. We had everything going for ourselves. The love that I had for my kids and the love they had for me was something that couldn't be comparable. And I thought I was on fire. But now I've lost 2 sons. At that point, I developed a program called Future. Future stood for Fathers Uniquely Thriving to Understand Responsibilities in Education. I went into the community working with dads. I went into the jails working with men, teaching them the importance of having relationships with their children. Because they have something that I don't have anymore. I don't have 2 of my sons. I said, y'all have an opportunity to establish everything you can with your children. And from the development of Future, I went into a master's degree program. And at that point, Future was on the rise in Milwaukee. I went through the master's program that took a year and a half. I completed it in a year. 3 months after I walked across the stage, the third biggest tragedy in my life happened. My 27-year-old son, the son that I had when I was 15 years old, got shot 6 times and he died. All of my seeds, everything that was a part of me, was now gone. I didn't know what to do but to hold on. Hold on to knowing that I was a good father. Hold on to know that there's fathers out there that need to know how to be better fathers. I eulogized my own son, my last surviving son. I eulogized him. And there was over 300 to 400 young folks in the funeral home. I had 400 business cards that I cried out to these children, saying, if there's any one of you that needs a father figure in your life, come right now and take my card and give me a call as soon as you can. Over 270 young folks took my card, crying out that they need a father. I stood up to the plate and said, here I am. I may have lost 3. But at that point, I began to mentor to over 1,000 young folks in the city of Milwaukee. And through Future, I've used curriculums to work with over 1,500 dads in jail or prison in the Milwaukee area. Over 1,200 young fathers in the community of Milwaukee. I've touched their lives and I've mentored to families. I bring out here to the Arizona area that same drive. All I can know is that I'm not the only father that have lost a child. But what I do know is that you can do something with that pain of grief and loss. Work with restoration. Work with touching somebody else's life where they don't have to experience the pain. Do something that you know that my children looking down on me saying, thank you, Dad. You may not have gotten to do it with us, Dad, but I see you doing it with somebody else. Touching their lives. Mothers, fathers, and children. Family restoration does not just stop with working with fathers. We have a mission here. The reason we're drawn to this man cave, because we all have concerns that without a strong father, without a father willing to change, without a father willing to move, we're going to just stay still. And I think I ought to tell you, because I need to tell you, it's time for us to stop standing still. This community, not only the Phoenix area, but all across this country, our children are going through some challenges. There's a program that came out during the Clinton administration called the ManCave program. It was a mentoring program for children of incarcerated parents. These children that got moms and fathers that's in jail, they got a pain going on that none of you all understand. So we began to train adult mentors, people of faith, mentoring to children of promise. Our children have so much promise, but until we begin to nurture their pain and help them rise above their pain, we can't do anything in our community. I can go on and on. I told you a 30-year story in 15 or 20 minutes. But if you're interested in any more part of my story, Google my name. I made a lot of newspaper stories as a result of my loss. But I want my loss to be a gain for many. Every time I tell my story, it doesn't get any easier. Because pain for the loss of loving children is a hard thing to get over. And I truly hope you don't have to experience it. So I try to share with fathers that don't have a relationship with their children that is still an opportunity to have that relationship. Don't put yourself in a position where I can't go restore my relationship, but you can. If you have to take that mother to court, take co-parenting classes, do whatever you have to do to make sure you regain that relationship with your children. It's the most important manly, fatherly thing that you can do in your whole life. It's to rebuild with your children. You'll feel grateful, and they will feel satisfied that Daddy loves me. Have a good afternoon.
Somebody asked me yesterday about why we didn't bring, or why we don't bring, spirituality into the summit. And to me, you really don't have to, because the nature of being a father is spiritual, and it's just going to naturally come out. The one thing that all of these men that have been in front of you all have in common is a hope in something beyond that is greater than them. The one thing that I have in common with them is that we are called to do this work. It's not easy work. And sometimes it hurts. But we do it because we love our children, we love our families, and we want the best for other men. That's why we do this work. That's the spirituality of this work. If you can't be challenged today, after what you've heard from this morning to this point on, you need to wake up. Because children need their fathers. Biologically, chemically, the way that we were created, children need their fathers. And we are a bunch of men that are just saying, you can't keep us from our kids. We will do whatever we have to do. Overcome and climb over whatever mountain we have to climb over. Crawl through whatever valley we have to crawl through. Run through any fire that we have to go through. And if we have to go through a brick wall, we'll go through that too. Because they need us. And that is what ManCave, Nurturing Fathers, is about. Let's take a 5-minute break, and then we'll be back.
Thank you. Thank you. Hi. This has been such a emotional experience for me, and I really appreciate all of you men that spoke, told your stories, and you've been very uplifting. So thank you for warming my heart. This is my friend and co-counselor, Femi Okinpelu. His name's like that long. So my name is Betty Schoen. I've worked for DES for 36 years, and the most meaningful years have been the 23 that I have spent as a vocational rehabilitation counselor. If you don't know what vocational rehabilitation is, you need to come by our table. But we provide employment services for people with any kind of a disabling condition that impacts employment. And this is a wonderful job because you're impacting people's lives. So I love what I do. I work with our youth because we start at 14 to help those young people with disabilities figure out what they want to do for a career, what they need to get there. Because when you have intellectual disabilities, cerebral palsy, mental health issues, sensory disabilities, sometimes there's no expectation that you'll work, and so you don't know how to or what to do. So we help starting at 14, but there's no ending age. And I don't know about you, but I'm getting old. I'm 67 now and looking at retirement. And as we get old, we gain conditions that can impact us and our ability to keep a job. Or maybe we have to change what we're doing so that we can keep it working. That's what we do for folks. So all of y'all that work for other agencies or organizations or businesses, please share the word that there is an agency, your tax dollars at work, and we can help your children who may have disabilities. We can also help your colleagues who may be struggling to keep their job because of their disabilities and their employer isn't willing to accommodate them. Those are all things that we can help folks deal with. And so I hope you'll come by our table, and we'd love to see you. And so thank you so much for having us here to talk to your folks.
Yeah, I can say a little bit. Good afternoon, everybody, and thanks for having us here. Like my boss said, she's my boss. She's just calling me, colleagues. I'm not colleagues. She's my boss. I'm under her. So she's, coordinator for the entire state of Arizona.
No, not me.
No? Okay, I'm sorry. Okay. Well, bottom line is we provide all kind of services for people with disability of different kind. Speech, TBI, TSW, general. Yeah, okay, I'm sorry. Well,
TSW and TBI? Yeah,
okay.
TBI.
So we provide, all those services. We have them in different office though.
All over Arizona.
All of Arizona, but we have those specific, specialty in certain area. So if you have anybody or family that, suffer those kind of situation, we can always, assist, to get them a job and to provide the service to make them eligible, pay for the service for, evaluation so that they can, because bottom line, our program is for people with disability, not just anybody. If you don't have disability, we cannot establish your disability, you not fit our program. Our funding comes from federal government for disability. So, and we're employment driven. As my boss said, we are, we are providing employment because everybody needs jobs. And therefore, in order for us to sustain, in order for us to claim that we are, like we said, man, because man, from where I came from, they are the head of the household and they take charge. So mama is in the house taking care of, whatever women need to take care of. But the men need to stand up and step up and do exactly what they already, told us, all day long. That's a man's situation. But, by us staying behind woman, it's not the purpose. And God is not crazy to create man before he created woman. So therefore, I'm not trying to be, sexist, forgive me. So, yeah, so therefore, and we will help anybody, no matter what is your condition, because a lot of people say, I don't have that. You don't know that. If you come to us, we're going to send you to psychiatrists, psychologists, evaluator, neurologists, so that they can give us the documentation that we determine. Once you determine that you have disability, we're all, blind to our condition. We don't know until we talk to a professional. So that's when we have idea, I didn't know I was going through this. I just have slight headache. I just have stomach, all that kind of stuff. Those are disabilities that nobody can look at you and say, oh, yeah, you have disability. You can't do that. So only professional can determine and give us documentation. Once we get there, then you'll be qualified for our program. So thank you for your time.
Okay. We've got 622-074. 074. Where are you? Woohoo! Yay! There's 074. And the second one is 622-055. Where's zero? Woohoo! Yay! Yay!
055. You got one, Sleepy? Oh, yeah. All right.
Yay!
All right, cool. Thank
Okay,
you.
there you go.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
All right, so we have Valedictorian Publishing. Lodge, that's the name of the book. Valedictorian is the name of the book. Lodgewell Publishing.
Yes, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Clapping already. You all don't even know what I'm going to say, but thank you. I appreciate the warm welcome. So my name is Shamaya Lodge, and nationally I run a corporate engagement strategy that focuses on fair chance hiring. So I'm responsible for making sure individuals who have some level of justice involvement seek meaningful opportunity in corporate America. But today I'm not here in my own capacity. I'm here supporting my husband and his business. So my husband owns a publishing company called Lodgewell Publishing, where he helps individuals publish their story. So if you're interested in publishing your story, see my husband. He also published his own story called Valedictorian. So Valedictorian was a story that my husband actually wrote for our daughters. So when he was growing up, he found out what a valedictorian was. super late in the process. And he said if he knew about it earlier, he would have been able to achieve or strive for this to achieve this lofty goal. So our daughters are the real characters in this story, and it's all about teaching children how to strive for academic excellence. And so we know that everyone is not going to be able to become a valedictorian, but if you sow and plant seeds into children from an early age, then they can strive for academic excellence. And so we're going to raffle off 2 of the books. So get your tickets ready. Okay, so 622043. 622043. Yay, okay. So if you bring it over to him, he'll sign it for you. And the girls are here, so you'll see those 4 little girls running around. There are children. They're in the book, so they'll sign the story as well. There are props. And so the next number is 622027. You can give it away as a Christmas gift to a child. Okay. All right. 622072. Oh, yay. Thank you.
All right. Sleepy to the stage. Thurston to the stage. George to the stage. GIno. Yeah, on the stage.
Thank you.
This is
super real up here.
This is how we're going to wrap today up for the next hour, which is really kind of a panel discussion with regard to issues that are, facing men and fathers. It's your opportunity to be able to ask questions if there's any questions that you have online. We are reading your questions as you ask them. If you have questions, we have giveaways. So that just encourages you a little bit to ask some questions. So let me see, am I on here?
Oh, you see right there. Oh, big time.
So, all right, there we go. So let me give you an idea of how this is going to go. So let me introduce you here to Darrell. I'm carrying on a conversation that was held a couple of months ago nationally, and I thought that it would be great from fatherhood.gov, the National Fatherhood Initiative, Parent, Family, and Community Engagement at the national level has begun having these conversations with fatherhood, father programs. And so I thought it would be great to bring it into this avenue to have some discussion around, some of these issues. So let's look at what Darrell has for us here.
You see certain things get reincarnated in your children. My daughter is very much inspired by my wife's artistic pursuits. So my daughter started making necklaces. She makes what we call affirmation fashion. I tell her every day that your black is beautiful. Your black is beautiful. Your black is beautiful. And if there's anything, you see certain things get reincarnated in your children. My daughter is very much inspired by my wife's artistic pursuits. So my daughter started making necklaces. She makes what we call affirmation fashion. I tell her every day that your black is beautiful. Your black is beautiful. Your black is beautiful. And if there's anything better than being beautiful, it's being smart. And if there's anything better than being smart, it's being kind. And reaffirming that every day is our method of making sure her chin never drops. My dad wasn't around, and I remember riding a bike and falling off and cutting myself, and me never just wanted to get back on it. People ask, How your children learn how to ride a bike, and you didn't. I didn't teach them. I just created an environment where they taught themselves, and all I had to do was be there.
Just think about, how does this resonate with you? Does it remind you of anything? Is there something that you can speak to particularly as a father, if you think about reflecting, or even as a mom, whether you're a teacher, a practitioner, anyone, in terms of resonating with Darrell, because he's saying that it's not important. It's important for me to just be there. Like, he didn't even know how to ride a bike, but it was important for him to just be there. So that's kind of an example in terms of where we're going with this. So, finding our focus and looking at our focus and what we're going to be focusing on today, because we're going to be looking at four areas when we talk about finding our focus. You heard Dr. Michael Campbell really talk about his tree, and his tree had what we call 17 plus 1. As a matter of fact, this was a conversation that he and I had, and I was just so pleased to see him incorporate those topics, because according to the National Fatherhood Initiative, those are 17 plus 1 critical issues that staff who are serving families and serving fathers should be creating an avenue to have these discussions with dads. He started off talking about family of origin. We've touched a little bit on masculinity and fatherhood. I think I've heard the mention of toxic masculinity like a couple of times during the presentation. These are all issues where fathers have an impact on their children, but these are all issues that we deal with individually as men, but we don't talk about collectively as men. 17 plus 1 issues. We're going to whittle this down for our purpose today to round things off to really 4. Those 4 being intersectionality, fathering skills, men's health, and then balancing work and family. So let's talk about intersectionality. When we talk about intersectionality, we're really talking about the traditional theories that are related to fatherhood, that really social ecology and father-child relationships, but really male caregiving behaviors that are largely determined by cultural norms. Depending upon where you are, you can be looked at in a certain way as a man with a child, as a father, and there is a perspective or there is a norm that is attached to you even without knowing you. This is why we hear, and I've heard Michael speak about this before, and the experience of taking your child into a doctor's office as the father. And even in the midst of taking your child to the doctor's office, the doctor will still speak around you to speak to the mom who's not even there. So it's a prescription. I'll contact the mother on how to give out the prescription. Well, why? I'm the father. I'm standing right here in front of you. So really thinking about that intersectionality and the issues and the things that we deal with as a part of the intersectionality. So I want to start off with Howard.
My mom and dad were traditional Asian parents. And my father would go to work before I woke up in the morning, and then he would come home too tired to play with me. I tell my son, I love you every single day. I love you. Now my dad has never said that to me. Not because he doesn't love me, but because culturally it wasn't comfortable for him. So I teased him the other day and I said, how come you never say that to me? And he said, you're too old now. Now that he's a grandfather, he says, I love you to my son every time he sees him. My advice to all the fathers out there, forget the material things, forget the cultural restrictions. They grow up way too fast for you to waste even a single precious minute or moment.
Say bye-bye. Bye-bye.
All right, so just a little bit of reflection with regard to just this one. Is there anything that jumped out at you with regard to intersectionality and really some of those things related to the cultural norms that are that we're labeled under or put off on us as we try to be the best fathers or the best men that we can be. I know that, Michael, you touched on it yesterday when you talked about during the time of COVID, going in and picking up pad thai, coming out, and all of a sudden seeing a group of individuals and police in riot gear because individuals were mounting up because of what was going on at the particular time. So really kind of talk about a little bit as it relates to how does intersectionality, how does it impact you and affect you as a man and as a father?
I just want to say, Marion, and speak on something larger than that and the intersectionality that's just occurring at this table and in this room right now. I've been at ManCave with you since the commencement, and there were many years, I know we've only been doing this 6 years, where it was just you and I, and we stared into a room of a sea of women and estrogen. And I love that and welcome that, but there's a lot of testosterone up here now merged with that. And the other years, I would walk out and say, this was good, but it wasn't it. And I knew it wasn't it because I would look at you as my mentor. And today, this is it, and you did it. You did it, man, and I helped you. It was just me and you in the beginning. And when I saw you break down up here, I knew we made it. And it's not because of me. I keynoted, but I started in a breakout room, just talking about drugs. I didn't know what was going on. I just got a PhD, man, but that's not it. This is it, and you did it. You fostered this. That intersectionality is what you needed and what we were missing. So you don't have to do any better. You did it. And that's, I'll leave it at that.
So Sleepy, talk to me a little bit, because here you are, one who clearly today in your presentation indicated 5 times in and out of prison, 16 years total. How do you deal with that? Because if there could be individuals that know that, look at this guy, he's spent time in prison and now he's trying to be a father. What struggles do you deal with when it comes to intersectionality, when we talk about those things where people can hold things against us just because of who we are, maybe where we come from?
That's I used to listen to it. I've been talked bad about for a long time, and so it just kind of, you get thick-skinned. I had a social worker tell me, congratulations, you're a single dad now, you get to be mom and dad. I said, I am not mom. I might brush my daughter's hair. I can never be mom. I don't smell like her, I don't think like her, I don't act like her. It's vastly different. Moms and dads are vastly different. I try to be everything, when it's just me and my daughter, but I 100% know the value of having mom there, influencing our daughter. And I don't know, people have said a lot. I've had judges tell me a lot. People didn't think I should be where I'm at as a father. And I'm going to say this, I did everything that got me to prison. I did all that. And I served my time straight with the house. And that's what I always remember. I'm straight with the house. I've served my time. I'm done. I left that behind. Rebuilding, I had to find God. For me, I had to find God. I really did, man, because without a higher power, without a true north, I'm doomed to fail. I will still listen to everybody and fail. I had to leave that behind and keep God as my true north and keep moving forward. Because I did things, but that was yesterday. Tomorrow's a different day, and what I'm doing today matters. When I connect with other dads, it matters. When I talk to moms, it matters. When I talk to moms and say, get your own man in here, it matters. And they go talk to their husbands and say, get in there. And they come through, and we talked about it yesterday. Getting moms involved with getting dads to come on, it just gets better. So I can say it gets better.
Okay. All right. GIno, we talked a little about it. You and I have talked about this. Just here you are, just by your sheer size alone, the perceptions that you get or the looks that you get, and you have 4 kids. And so talk to me a little bit about some of the things that you've dealt with from a cultural perspective, or where you've come from when we talk about intersectionality, some of the norms that have been placed upon you, or cultural norms that have been placed upon you that is not you, but just because you see me, you think this is who I am.
Can y'all hear me? Yeah. Okay. So that's well, let's unpack that a little bit. So, first and foremost, I don't subscribe to the norm. I can't fit in regardless. Shit, I can't even get into a Honda. Like I'm just being honest. So with that being said, on a serious note, so it's like I can't hide. My best avenue of approach to anything is just be authentic. Because it just ain't gonna work. I've tried being other people and it don't work. It's just being me is just the best way. And whatever that looks like, because I'm still sculpting my David as we speak here. I'm still polishing. I won't stop. So when it comes to that, to reflecting on that question, of course I'm supposed to be hostile and uneducated. Of course I'm supposed to just sit back and let this system, who was not rigged for me, win. I'm gonna challenge that. Whether that's from sitting down and doing homework, even if I don't understand it, telling the teacher, hey, you think you can maybe brief me on some of this real quick, because the way y'all do math now is different than when I did math. The way they breaking this math down, and the kids understand.
Hey, I got a PhD. I'm struggling with third grade math.
What is this? This is a real thing. This is a real thing, right? So I'm on Yahoo, I'm on YouTube in Khan Academy, trying to just okay, we're gonna act like we got it together. Okay, we're gonna maintain our face. Okay. At the end of the day, it doesn't come with a manual, right? So parenting doesn't come with the manual. I had a conversation because of the environment that my children were in prior to me taking custody of them. It was very hostile, very dirty, and those standards were not established. And here's the thing: I'm trying to establish those standards while I'm also reparenting myself. And there comes a time where, although I want to maintain that, hey, I'm the father figure, there's also a time where I have to intersect and let them know that I'm also still healing and I'm still learning and that I'm just like you. And so as far as challenging that narrative, I don't have to be perfect to be a good dad. Flat out. I'm gonna make mistakes every single day. The difference is, am I gonna be, for lack of a better term, man enough to wake up the next day and stumble to success again, no matter what that looks like. So.
All right. Questions? Comments? Do I have somebody to take the mic, push the mic around? Where'd all my staff go?
They're on break.
All right, go ahead. So we got a question over here.
You gotta let me get the mic first.
All right, man. All right, I got you. You got to move, man.
He's so pushy.
I got a few comments. You guys made me cry, for one, because you brought back a lot of the things that I've been through in my life. My dad was around until about maybe 7. He was a good dad, in my eyes. He was my Jerry Lewis. He made me laugh. I talked to Sleepy about it a little bit. Then my mom came and took me and my brother away. I went to hell. My mother was abusive. Been in and out of foster homes. I can't even tell you what it was like, because every time you just sat there wondering when that worker's going to come in and take you to another place. I felt empty, got into drink and got into drug, and I was pregnant at 15. I don't regret any of my children. I regret that I didn't have the teaching of a father or a mother or grandparents. I grew up very, very angry, and I still get angry sometimes because I'm so goddamn tired of this freaking system that just separates families. They call them family courts. No, it's not. They destroy more families than anything else. What can we do? You know, we're doing all this stuff right now, which is absolutely wonderful, and I heard one of you say, or a lot of you say, that we do have to work together. Because what we do, you don't do. What you do, we don't do. So let's work together, because our kids are failing right now because of us. And I don't mean us, you know, personally. We're all trying to do something. But I get so tired, because with the kids that we get, it's hard not to want to just get that rage in you from your past. And I've tried through my life to say, you know, listen, that was in the past, I can't change it. But it creeps up every now and then. You know, what can we do to change that? The racism that's going on, the anger that's going on, stop, because we each have such a beauty that we can give to each other and learn. And let me tell you something, today, I am freaking glad I came, because I have learned so much that I feel blessed today. But my kids, I taught them, listen, man, I'm an adult. You know, I'm going to do things that I can do because I'm an adult. But if I do something that you're bothered by, you have a right to bring it to my attention, like I bring it to yours. Because I was brought up with saying, you do what I say, not what I do. It was confusing. You know, I want my kids to know that I'm there for them. But let me tell you something, it was hard not to bring the abuse that I had into my kids. I kept saying, no, 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 I can't do that, because I didn't like it. Who the hell are you to inflict that? And it was really tough. And I think that working with them, I've heard a lot today about working with moms. But moms have to work with dads too. That is a huge, huge issue in my eyes. I see it all the time in the courts and stuff. We've gotten phone calls, hey, can you come over and beat up my husband? We're going through a divorce. Yeah, I know. We don't do that, okay? We don't do that. But I just want to say thank you. And maybe if there's a way that we can find to change this goddamn so-called system, or maybe just send them the definition of it, you know, but the laws have to change. We have to change the laws. We can do as much as we can in our groups, but we've got to change the laws somehow. How do we do that? We heard about a march. You know, I mean, come on. I'll walk. I'll bring a scooter. I don't care. But, you know, we've got to do something. And I just, you know, what are your thoughts? But I just want to say thank you. You did bring back some things. I know I still got some healing to do, but that's okay. Because I'm okay today. Because I'm giving back to kids that went through what I went through. And so aren't my brothers and sisters and you guys. So thank you so much.
Thoughts?
You mind if I say?
Go ahead.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
You're good? One of the things that I realized, especially about what you spoke about, is we all have healed, but we do not want to see the wounds, right? And especially when we talk about systematic racism, we talk about the system that we're in. How many of us really would, and I use this as an analogy of Uno, right? How many of us would really, if somebody gave you a draw 4, how many of us would really want to pick up those 4 cards? Nobody, right? The same thing is when we are dealt with the hand of cards, we see somebody else is dealing with a different hand of cards, we don't want to empathize with them or even see their perspective of what they're going through, right? It's not just the march. It's what happens after the march, right? It's what happens when you bring a great group of gentlemen, but also all these amazing people in the room. You get the brain power to say, let's make a change. But the thing about making a change is not being the person that just asks for it. How do you do the action with it, right? And that starts with platforms like this. That starts with saying, okay, we are all educated, but we don't know everything, right? We're not supposed to know everything, right? You have each person that do something that they're great at, but the power of the network is the most important thing. And sometimes we want to, unfortunately, everybody wants the credit. It's not about the credit. It's about the work. And that's the thing. And so just wanted to share that.
Beautifully said.
So I think, and I'm looking at Neil. Neil, this speaks to the work that you and I, when we came together 2 years ago to talk about really kind of the reorganization and the revitalization of the Arizona Fatherhood Collaborative. You know, because we've there is a fatherhood collaborative in Arizona, but it's just kind of bits and pieces here and there, and you really don't get that full commitment. And one of the messages that I always gave is that if there is going to be any change, legislative change, changes to policy, procedure, if there's going to be any change, it cannot be done by one entity. Like, it can't be done by Leondis and Maricopa County Healthy Start. It can't be. It has to be a coalition of programs that come together that say this is a cause that we're willing to fight, and this is a cause that we're willing to educate, inform, and address and recommend at the legislative level for change. It's got to be done together.
Yes. Can I say something about intersectionality? I'll actually answer your question this time. I just had to give you accolades. Intersectionality and racism, we'll get a mic to Neil. I think we have to be really careful asking victimized black men to resolve a systematic 200-year-old issue. Yeah. We will always have racism. However, as black men, we have an accountability from a fiscal standpoint. We're the only group of men, African men, in the globe that make enough money as a group to collectively cope with racism. Yeah. We're the only group of African men on the globe that can rectify it, but we had to pool resources and uplift our women. I learned from you, Thurston. I learned from you that it's okay for a pharmacist to listen to gangster rap. You know who Common is, right?
Yeah.
Common said, never looking back or too far in front of me. The present is a gift and I just want to be. I talked about my sister just wanting to exist or be with her duality and her sexuality. That's another one of the critical issues. And he also said, until we uplift our women, our condition as men, and I'm talking to all of y'all, you too, Sleepy, even though you ain't really that melanated, you got a little bit. and in here, you all the way with it. Yeah. Off the rib, right?
Off the rib.
Until we uplift our women, our condition will continue to worsen. The most powerful thing I heard was from this gentleman here who lost 3 of his sons, and he became a preacher. That moved all of us. I saw my mentor cry. I saw Marion cry. And he said, I became a Baptist preacher, and fatherhood from childhood, infanthood to manhood. But he said something really important that we all scoff at, and I'm tired of it. He said there should be a husbandhood. And I'm tired of men dealing with all of this trauma and not getting close to what women really need. They are begging us, please. I've seen women on social media getting on one knee because we're not ready yet. We have this trauma and cannot be their husbands. If we merge that intersectionality with the financial resources, we can dissolve and take a lot of this pressure off with racism. I want to hear what the rest of the group think about it. I'm going to never come off of that. I was beefing with my wife last night, Thurston, but we here today. Because it's bigger fish to fry.
Yes.
The mortgage due. We ain't got time for the BS. You got to put that to the side. Speak on it.
That's a fact. Hello?
Please excuse me and thank you.
Excuse me, Michael, if may I please?
Absolutely, sir. You had a floor.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So since Michael kept me hostage here for 2 or 3 hours after the session, with my phone ringing to 50 unread text messages, am I okay? Because my phone was still on Do Not Disturb when I was supposed to be out from 2:30. I felt the need to sit here and listen to Michael because he had me and we were just talking, and I feel like a lot of times we have 2 ears for a reason, and we don't actively listen. And we don't actively become aware to our surroundings. You know, I see people, the thing with me is that I'm not a role model, I'm a real model. So when you see me, you get the real. I don't want to have just an organization, and then when you see me in person and shake my hand, it doesn't really come off that way. because I've been, like I told a lot of people, I've been to every organization, I've been to every nonprofit, and I see what you guys post online, but when I get there, I don't feel it. So I want you to, if this is really you, be really you. Shake everybody's hand. I came here, I worked the room, I was going left to right. I didn't sit with people that I knew. I see some people sitting with who they knew. I'm here to really make an impact, and that's how I want to be judged. And so I figured that I have trauma issues and problems. Thank you for Marion for taking me to the class. After leaving from that, my issue was with the older generation. And they always say, youngster, you got to do this, youngster, you got to do that. But at one point in life, you was in my shoes. So what would you tell yourself at that age? Seeing and understanding and knowing what we're up against, knowing that we had no dad, knowing how society views me, you just gonna just let me walk by you? Wouldn't you want someone to sit you down and let you know what's about to come? Wouldn't you want someone to tell you what it's like to be married, how to court your wife? What does the relationship look like? What does give and take? Talk about who's gonna manage the finances? Because I don't like when people just point the finger. I want you to say, if you're gonna actually talk about it, come in here and be about it. Follow up with me. Hey, we had that talk, and I'm gonna follow up with you next Tuesday. Instead of pointing the finger and saying, hey, you didn't do this, have fun and figure it out. So I wanted to say, hey, if we're gonna actually be on these panels and say what we need to do, there has to be power of a follow-up. There has to be someone really checking in to make sure that these things are really happening. Invite them out, invite the kids, invite the family out. I appreciate Marion. He invited me out. He invited my family out. 'Cause that's the only way that we're really gonna know if this stuff works. It sounds good, we take this stuff home, but how do we know that this is really making an impact? Are we really following up? Because that's what I'm looking for.
I do.
Thank you, Steve, I appreciate it.
I follow up with my dad, nurturing fathers. And even after my dads graduate, they keep coming back because of support. And they come back, get some donuts and coffee. I got 2 pilots down here, 2 pilots. My class is so diverse. We're talking about racism, you know, and man, I don't come from that school. I don't. I had 2 black men show me love, show me strength, and let me live with them and go to high school, and their only condition was, you got to go to school. That was it. I come from Maryville, and culturally, diversity is the name of the game there. You smell Mexican food cooking, you come across some black folks, you come across all kinds of stuff, you know, and that's what saved me. And I want to say this, little Mikey is mixed. That little boy in my house is mixed. He's half black and half white. He looks black, and he's latching on to me. And he talks to me about his skin, because we got a picture of his dad in his bedroom. He goes, and then my daughter is white. And he starts comparing himself. I said, no. You're beautiful. You're perfect. You are absolutely the way you're supposed to be. And I got him, every bit of it, because I'm not absent. He's not my son, but I role model this behavior. Because racism is a deal. Identity politics is a deal today. All this stuff going on about who you are, and it's mixed up. And so us as dads, it is our responsibility and our duty to talk to these young kids, no matter what their race, religion, culture, no matter what it is, because it's all beautiful.
Yep. Well said.
I'd like to respond to what we talked about, taking the ideas and putting them into action. Marion and I have been involved with the Arizona Fatherhood Collaborative for a while, and we really want to expand it to anyone. It's a group of men and women that meet. We're going to be meeting again in January to promote resources for dads. There are no rules, there are no limits. We just come together, we talk about, like at the last meeting we had, we promoted this event big. But the idea is, if any of you want to be involved with that, you can just email me, neiltift@yahoo.com, and we'll be glad to send you the invitations, because we really like to get a cross-section of everybody that's here. It doesn't have to be fathered practitioners. It's anybody that wants to promote the growth of healthy fatherhood, working with healthy motherhood, and seeing our kids really grow up in a better society. So just email me at neiltift@yahoo.com, and we'll invite you to the next meeting. Thank you.
Yes, sir. So this is what happens. Once you get the ball rolling, these guys can go. So we're going to switch it over. Fathering skills. So when we talk about fathering skills, time spent from a data perspective, so time spent by fathers has doubled in the last few decades with their kids. So dads are spending more time with their kids. Millennials really having a true desire to spend time with their kids and really to understand parenting skills and how to parent, the correct way to parent. Despite the increased time in fathering, our understanding of diverse fathering is still limited. Children learn from fathers by directly witnessing their behavior. We've talked about that over the course of the last 2 days. They don't only hear us, but they learn from watching us. And examining changes in fathers' approaches to parenting can inform prevention and intervention efforts. So I want to meet Marvin.
The thing that drives me every day as a dad is him. His real name is Darion, and we call him Day2 for short. Every day he's hungry for something, whether it's affection, attention, knowledge. And there's this huge responsibility in making sure that when he's no longer under my wing, that he's a good person. I think the advice I would give is you don't need to know all the answers. The craziest thing was believing that your dad knew everything. So as a dad, you felt like you had to know everything. You had to get everything right. It's okay to make mistakes. Just do it from the right place. As long as it's coming from love, then, it kind of starts to work itself out. I want him to be able to sit back one day and go, we worked together, we did a good job. I'll say my kid's pretty dope.
All right. Fathering skills. What do you have to say about fathering skills? Important, not important, something you're consistently working on with your kids?
Our kids grow. Our parenting skills got to grow too. Our children are so complex and there's so much stuff going on out there. And you know what, honestly, and you all heard me, I didn't know how to be a man. I didn't know how to be a dad. And I had to attach myself to other dads. I had to ask questions to other dads. Hey, one of the best questions that some dad ever asked me is, give me a fathering tip. He said consistency. Wow, and you know what? I'm consistent. I stay consistent. My children know I'm consistent. Nurturing fathers, that's some pretty good stuff there. It's a good start with dads. It's a great start with dads. It covers a lot of different topics when it comes to fatherhood. I believe in nurturing fathers. I preach that stuff, man. And yeah, I 100% believe in it. And it changed me as a parent. It changed me as a man. It helped me process my father wound. And I heard him today mention his mother wound, and I appreciated that because I too have a mother wound that I've been working on. I have zero parenting skills, and so nurturing fathers and the other men that I talk to, the dads right here, other dads in other programs, Marion, everybody I talk to about being dads, they give me something new about being a dad, and I absorb that stuff and I keep it.
Yeah, I know for me, I'm probably maybe the newest dad here, but I remember right before my daughter was born, and I'm talking to my friends, and I'm like, yo, I'm scared, right? And they're like, dude, that's normal. You should be scared. Like, this is a big responsibility. Yeah. And, I think the best advice that I've ever gotten is that it's okay not to have everything figured out, right? Like, that's the best advice I've ever gotten. And this brother right here talked about consistency, right? Like, I wake up every single day with a smile on my face because my daughter is playing hide and go seek with the covers. Like, that's the best thing to me, right? But it's just knowing that they look to you for that guidance. They look to you for that support. My daughter's at this stage now where she's going through the attachment stage, right? And so she don't, like, if I move just for a second or her mom moves for a second, she just loses it. And for the life of me, like, I would get frustrated. I'm like, yo, like, it's okay, we're good. But I didn't realize just how much of the protection that she was looking at from me, even at 9 months old, right? And so that the skills that we have to have, consistency, love, knowing that it's okay to make mistakes, but more importantly, knowing that it's okay to make mistakes and evolve with the mistakes, right? Life is an ever-changing thing. Parenting will be ever-changing, as Sleepy said, right? But how can we not be, I guess, who we didn't have, but just be who we can be to be who they have?
I'd like to, go ahead, you want to? Okay. I'd like to piggyback on a little bit of that. When we talk about parenting, like styles, like I know for me, my responsibility, a lot of times I feel like Moses in the Bible. Like, you know, I understand that I hope that I make it to the promised land, but that's not for me. My goal is to break the cycle. My goal is to create the platform that wasn't created for me. And it has to be done from an unselfish place. So even with parenting, I try not to make rules that I'm not willing to enforce. You know, mainly because it doesn't make sense. Like if I don't have the energy, I'm one person. And my responsibilities is deeper than just parenting. I'm parenting myself, re-educating myself, as well as parenting my children, re-educating my children, and then also trying to create generational wealth so that way they have better opportunities and options. So I have to be real with myself and say, hey, you got to pick and choose your battles. So it's like maybe tonight they might stay up a little bit later, but we're gonna win the war tomorrow. like I got to be a realist because it's not a perfect. It's not how things looked in Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. It's not.
Wish we had
you know what I mean? It's like, man, Uncle Phil, boy, Uncle Phil, man.
R.I.P.
But yeah, that's just my perspective, and then also learning to be gentle with myself.
Yeah.
I think the most abusive thing that I've encountered is being frustrated at my own human limitations, and criticizing myself. That's a tough one every night, feeling like I'm not doing enough when I'm already stretched beyond belief. So being gentle with myself and trying to love the little boy still inside of me, because that never goes away. So.
I think for me, what I had to learn is that I don't need to know everything, but I do need to know something about everything. Because there's going to be times where I'm going to be questioned and put into certain predicaments where I have to give an answer, because I don't know is not an answer.
Yeah.
And so I didn't learn about medicine, and my son was sick. And so, my wife usually is the one that handles that, but one day she stepped away, and my son was sick. It was time to administrate the medicine. He wasn't doing the medicine. So from there, I had to learn about medicine. I had to use WebMD. I had to Google. I had to learn about those stuff. So to me, if you want to be a leader, you have to be a reader. And every day you have to stay sharp. I think you talked about that. You have to stay sharp. And so now I'm not just spending all day watching ESPN. I might watch it for the highlights. I'm not going to lie. I catch the highlights, and I turn that off. And I continue to better myself with more tools, because I know one day something's going to step up. I got hit with one. My son was playing football. I've been coaching him. He says, Dad, I want to start a YouTube channel.
That's new.
How we do that?
What part of it was that?
Yeah.
There was no one I can reach out to. I can't reach out to my grandfather. I can't reach out to my father. So everything was pretty much on me. So I dove in. I went into YouTube and saw someone who thoroughly explained it, how to use my cell phone to create a YouTube channel. So just all those things that are new to me that I'm no longer scared of, I'm willing to embrace.
Yep.
With my son having social media, it speeds up the process now. We have conversations that we thought we would have been having at 16, 17, we're having them at 11 years old.
Yeah.
We're breaking down sex.
Yeah.
We're not saying, hey, this is something we're talking about later. No, this is something that we'll talk about right now, because this is what adults do.
Yeah.
And are you an adult? No. So we'll talk about this when you are an adult. So let's address these things and not run for these things. And I have to now say, because Mary asked me these questions during Nursing Fathers, and I said, to me, it's pretty much like being God on earth when you talk about being a father. Because you have to create, you have to tap in, you have to manifest, you have to motivate, you have to work with people, you have to work with everything. You have to deal with people being mad, you got to deal with racism, you got to deal with someone else's emotion. You got to take all this in and be calm. Take all that sin, which I never learned how to do, and no one was there to show me. And now I feel like when they say create God and it's like it's in his image, I'm like, this is what it feels like. Because I'm creating, I'm showing people that are blind to now see things. I'm healing with medicine. I'm doing a lot of amazing things like a God. So when they ask me, what is it fatherhood like? To me, it's like being like God on earth, creating with his words, speaking life into somebody when they had a bad day, being mindful of the words that I'm using, being aware of my surroundings. I was at a friend yesterday, and with everything that's happening, I now have to enter the room and place my back against the wall. I have to look for all the exits. I am now a bodyguard. I am now security.
That part.
I have now been conditioned to think that if something goes wrong, I have to do something. I might have to take somebody out.
Yeah. And I'm okay with it.
And I'm okay with that. So that's what fatherhood is like to me.
I just wanted to add real quick. I love everything you guys are saying, by the way. One thing that sunk in the best with me from being in the Nurturing Fathers class was this right here. Sleepy said it best. It's consistency. It's not perfection. We don't need to know a damn thing about being a parent. This goes with moms too, so don't think this is just for dads. Nurturing Fathers taught me to embrace the child within and to let him out to play with my children. So the joy of fathering skills is we get to learn right alongside our children. You don't have to know everything. You don't have to know a single thing. Well, no, I take that back. You only need to know one thing, and that's that you love your child. Because if you love your child, you'll be gentle with your child, and your child will teach you how to be gentle with yourself so that you can actually teach them as they teach you. It's a two-way street. Because once you learn to nurture your child, you can nurture yourself, you can nurture your partner, you can nurture coworkers, your friends, everyone around you. And it only makes our culture and society stronger. And that's where, like they were saying earlier about racism being such an issue, we all know it is, but there's no better place to start than nurturing one another.
So part of fathering skills, and this is what we deal with in the Nurturing Fathers program, is the ability to be able to meet your own need. Back that up. It's the ability to be able to recognize that you have a need and that you are responsible for your need and you're responsible for meeting your own need. Because if we as men, as fathers, cannot nurture ourselves, cannot strengthen ourselves, then how can we do that with someone else? That would take us right into men's health. We've heard a lot of that today with regard to men's health. We know that fathers who are more involved in their children's lives are more likely to report positive general health and life satisfaction. They tend to be healthier than men who do not have children. And then when fathers of preschool-age children are more involved with their children, the fathers have a lower rate or lower rates of depression. Let's meet Joseph.
My biggest fear in the middle of my addiction was that I would never be able to get over it and that my kids wouldn't have a father. I overdosed on heroin and I lived. And I started thinking, you know what? This isn't my story. For the longest time, fear held me back from ultimately being who I wanted to. I found the fatherhood program and it was one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life. My desire to change had finally outweighed my desire to stay the same. I felt powerless for so much of my life that it's important to me that my kids are empowered and truly believe that if they can think it, they can do it. I definitely had to become a better man to be a better father. For the first time, I finally feel like I'm exactly where I should be, where I want to be.
This is a huge one for men. I can stand in front of you and tell you and say it confidently that my wife saved my life. Because, like any man, I don't know if the other guys have experienced this, but, we have these little aches and we have these little pains and we have things that kind of go sideways. And what do? We think, if I can hold off till tomorrow to get a little bit better, and it doesn't hurt as much, so I think it's going away, or so I don't think it might be a problem. And then you hear things like, well, your blood pressure might be a little bit high, or you hear things where, you've got some issues or things going on with your liver, your kidneys, based off of the numbers. Like, we get a blood test, but we don't really look at the numbers. Like, the numbers are there for a reason, and the numbers tell us something. And the numbers work together to tell you what's going on inside of you. But for us, it's, if I can just endure and get through the ache and the pain, I'm not going to tell anybody about it. I'm just going to keep it to myself. You have to go to the doctor when the man says, ooh, I'm hurting, I think I got to go. There's something wrong, and most of the time it may be too late. It might be too late. So what I put out in front of the panel, how important is it when you talk about fathering skills? I've heard, Sleepy, some of the things that you've said that you changed in your life because you wanted to be there to walk your daughter down the aisle. A lot of these things we don't think about as men, and this is one of them when it comes to our health.
When I turned 50, I did everything a 50-year-old is supposed to do. Yeah, it was, zoop! They didn't do that. They gave me a blood test, and I was so glad. I'm not going to lie. Because I've been to prison. And that wasn't going to happen. I fought it, no. But you know what? When the doctor told me, it's a blood test, I was grateful. And then they told me I was going to be unconscious when they gave me my colonoscopy. I'm cleared. And you know what? I go in for regular checkups. All my guts are good. The only thing I got going on is mechanical stuff. I just had surgery in August. Rotator cuff surgery. I'm still on the mend. It's almost there. Be able to play basketball again soon. I stay proactive, man, and just like the doctor said, he spoke the gospel up here, man, about taking care of yourself, And then I recently got. I don't even like to say it like this. I got a best friend now, and it's Ed, my boss, my supervisor, and I've since Gaylord and Clifton, I never had another man that I could sit down with and just talk to and be real with and even cry with. I got a lot of crying to do, and it's just not so easy to get out. But I could talk with Ed, and I don't feel like what I've been taught as a child, that you got to buck up, and all this stuff. I can be vulnerable with another man, and then my son, for the first time, kissed me on the cheek last week. And he hugged me and said, I love you. He hugs me and says, I love you all the time, but this time he kissed me on the cheek, and I kissed him back on the cheek, Being affectionate is nurturing for myself. I get this from my son. Being proactive with my health, being aware. I know my kids' health. I got to take care of me too. Yeah.
Doc? I think that it's it's cool to always look to, well, who knows the most? There's no more school left for me. And I'm in a section in the substance abuse, and if y'all could help me talk about it, because I know the science, I've never struggled with it. Like, I've had problems with alcohol, but I was able to identify it and rectify it before it became an issue, and then I needed help. And my son helped me do that. When we talk about financial responsibility and generational wealth, which you brought up, you can't do that when you're an addict.
Man, ain't that the truth?
And because some of us didn't have higher education, I want to be a testament that that's not for all of our children. It's plumbers, electricians, carpenters that are wealthier than pharmacists and doctors are. Pharmacists and doctors mismanage their money, trust me. So we don't need to send everybody to college just because we need to compensate for what we lost out on. And I want to say that I think that, and this is what I need your help with and your help with, and if you guys struggle with any substance abuse too, people don't do drugs to get high or drink to get drunk. There's some underlying mental health issues and wounds that drugs numb. You talked about, and I hate to air it out, but you said it and you said it. You talked about crystal methamphetamine and you talked about alcohol. Those drugs bind to the same receptors that prescription drugs do, but a lot of people in society don't realize they're more potent. They're actually phenomenal antidepressants They just have horrific side effects like turning you into an addict.
Yep.
So I want you guys, excuse me, would you guys be willing, Thurston told me this, might you be willing to speak on if that's true or not? Those are just my assertions with what I read in the book, but you guys live that life, and I think it'll heal more people if y'all say what it is versus me telling people what I read somewhere.
Is it okay if I speak on that a little bit, elaborate? I'm going to talk two ways, from more of a clinical setting and from a personal setting. I personally had an addiction. I used to sell dope. I actually had an addiction with cocaine. I was partying all the time too, on top of alcohol. It made me feel important. I felt like something was going on. I was trying to treat an internal issue with an external thing. It wasn't until I actually acknowledged the fact that I had a gaping wound inside of my soul. So for me, that is completely valid what your assertion is, because here's the thing, modern medicine, and I'm not a doctor, so I'm gonna make my own claim, but I also have experience and I work with these people every day. If you treat the soul, you can also treat the addiction. And it doesn't take medication to do that. Because most of the time, and you find this a lot in people who have sexual trauma, men or women who's been raped, or any type of an abusive pattern that has been witnessed by someone, a lot of the maturity stops at the age of that abuse, the understanding, and also that will comes with an addiction. So most of the time when I have residents that enter my facility, I always try to treat it with a spiritual approach first. That's why it's called Whispering Sage. We have to understand that demons are real, energy is real, and there's no pill for that. So, that's just my approach. Silence.
I would say he's on the money, and he's on the money. I mean, drugs are but a symptom, and AA, NA, all the A's that we go to. Every bit of literature says that drugs and alcohol are but a symptom of what's going on inside us, and then all the A's, all the the AA and NA, they have the 12 steps, and 12 steps, if you work them, they really work.
Yeah. I'll say one last thing. I told a story about somebody I was getting really close to that I was selling drugs to legally, but it should have been in a legal manner because it didn't work. It's two sides to substance abuse, and when people commit suicide, they never ask for a refill. They always ask for somebody. People don't need medicine; they need each other. My patient, he needed medicine at one point to cope. But when he finally took his life with medicine, it was because he missed his wife. But he likely had a mother wound. Mm-hmm. And when she left and got care that he could not provide for her, it's from a spiritual standpoint, it's a gaping wound. And that pain, the only way he knew how to deal with it was to end it. Yep. The drugs wasn't working at that point. He swallowed 30 Ambien. Let me see, farmers should be able to do math. That's 35. 150 milligrams of Ambien. 20 milligrams could knock you out. So I just want to say that be there for people. If you know people are hurting and they call you, pick up the phone and put it on speaker and don't say anything till they stop for 5 seconds, because they may need to come off of it and that may save their life. Don't listen to respond, listen to understand. And I learned that from this man too. This guy here,
Thursday.
Craig.
Oh, yeah. You guys started talking about substance abuse, but I wanted to go back to a little bit before that. You guys talking about kind of reflection and kind of, being healthy and being there for your kids as long as you can. My daughter's 2. My son is just a year old. I'm 30. What would you guys say to, I guess, someone that wanted to kind of start early, like instead of like waiting until I'm 40 or 50 to like fix things, or like, what could I do now? If I'm early, or like, if I'm at this age,
about your
what
health?
can I do now? Yeah, about my health, or about just my future and things like that. Because you've been 50, I haven't been, 50. So
Exercise.
That's what I do.
Exercise.
You said it first.
Well, I give you the first thing. I give you the first thing that you can do. The first thing, get an annual physical. And then, when you get your blood work done, understand your numbers. Know what your blood work will tell you a world about your body. If you understand what each one of the components are and what the numbers are. That's the first place to start. Outside of exercise, getting plenty of water, eating good food. Yeah, that's the basic thing. That's the basic thing you can do to be around. Yeah. To be around. And then listen to your body. Mm-hmm. And I can attest to the fact that when you don't listen to your body, I did not listen to my body. My body was going through hell, and I did not listen to my body. And guess what? I masked it with anger. And who did I take the anger out on? I took the anger out on my wife. And because of my sickness, we're having all kinds of issues because I'm masking my sickness with anger. And then guess what? Sooner or later, God will reveal it to you. Mm-hmm. And I ended up in the hospital, and I ended up with stage 3 colon cancer because I didn't listen. So that's what you can do right now. All right.
Sleepy will probably attest to this, that right now your body not failing you because you're 30. I'm 35. 32, it'll start to go off the Richter. Draw a box and put 4 words in it: physical, emotional, spiritual, and intellectual. When one of those start to drain, then you'll know to focus on it. When we talk about balance and work and family so you don't get burnt out, that's where burnout stems from. When you get burnt out from stress, that burnout is what turns into anxiety or depression. It goes one of either ways. So in order to keep your tank full, focus on those. When you get an annual physical, you may not know, you can't feel colon cancer or feel a heart attack till it's too late. The top 10 reasons why men die, a lot of those are preventable disease states if you watch it. So like he said, you go to the doctor and just make the doctor check my labs. And when you get your labs, if your doctor won't explain them to you, a pharmacist or a nurse can find somebody that work in healthcare to see what these values mean, and you save the paper. And then when you go next year, look, are these different? Make your doctor be a doctor. They get paid too much money. What does this mean? This is higher. Explain this to me. They charging your insurance, but you leaving without information. So be accountable for your own health care, but it start with understanding and making sure you don't get burnt out.
Let's have some comments. First of all, for myself personally, everyone has said something today and yesterday, especially today with you gentlemen up there and the other gentleman who left earlier. Ever since my kids were born, and even before that, I had a similar story like his, losing my father. I wasn't able to say goodbye. I was at the funeral. For that long, I've been wearing a mask. And if you ask anybody who knows me, and also I also am involved with other organizations that deal with children as well. And no one will ever know that they would never know that what I'm feeling or going through, because I wear a mask. And I deal with a lot of things, especially with my father passing, and then emotionally, and then being depressed and all this stuff. And with all my pride, I've never wanted to speak about it. I didn't want to talk to anybody about it. I wanted to fix it on my own. And I realized that being blind to that has affected my life. It's messed up my relationship. But being a father to two little boys, I've tried my best to keep that away from them. And they grew up to be great boys. Everyone says they're very respectful, they're very nice and courteous. They're really great kids. And I am part of that. So today, listening to you guys and the stories, the things that you've gone through, because I have both my parents. I was lucky, I was fortunate to have two good parents. And because of them, I have two good boys. And now, listening to you guys It gives me the chance to finally take that mask off and try to look for help. Try to fix myself so I can be here longer for my boys.
You want to come hang out on Saturday? Nurturing Fathers, we have coffee and donuts, man, and we're at 7th Street in Missouri. We're there at 10 o'clock Saturday morning, man. We have a few dads that come around and hang out. Some of them graduated, some of them haven't, some are still taking classes, but we all do the classes together. And we hang out, and we support each other, and we talk to each other, man. So meet me after this, and then I'll get you the information, okay, brother?
Definitely.
Okay.
And I also want to say, yeah, thank you. Because of you guys, I just want to say thank you, and I want to give you guys my compliment that because of what you guys say and what you guys do, in my eyes, because I feel like I'm an old soul because I'm Native American, and I live my way, and I teach my kids that way, and that's why the reason why they are who they are. So when I look at you guys, I can honestly say and proudly say and thankfully say that in the time of my ancestors, you guys would be considered great chiefs to form great nations, people like you. And today, you guys will do a lot more. Like, just you guys are the rock that makes that ripple. Because I'm very focused on father engagement where I'm from. I stay in Tucson, and that's what I do, father engagement. And just a little bit of it, I'm trying to grow and make a massive impact. But I know that I gotta fix myself too and seek help from people like you guys.
What's your name, man?
Dennis.
Dennis, I went to school in Tucson, and I think that black people do a lot of what Native American people do, which is use our spirituality. We're some of the most spiritual groups of people in America. I don't know how many churches, the pastor left, but we got 65,000 churches in America, but all of this pain. How many times I called you Big Chief yesterday? I didn't even know he was here.
Yeah, Big Chief.
And the reason for that is, it's okay to, I told you to do a box. Where'd that other guy go? Oh, okay, good, yeah. The box. It was 4 things in there. You remember what they was? Big Chief. See, this is why I came here. I only had one goal, to impact one dad to start, modify, or continue their process to break the cycle of trauma. That was what I wanted to do. And you have resources. He's here. I had a printout. There's resources. You don't have to try to get help, man, and you don't have to wear a mask. I'm a pharmacist. I see through all of that. He hurt his shoulder. He's not afraid to tell people, but when we depressed, we try to hide it. Depression will flourish in isolation. Yep. But Dennis, guess what happened when you take your mask off? Depression will wither away. It's cowardly. It's a cowardly disease. It's not like diabetes or cancer or high blood pressure or heart disease where we can see it. Those diseases got to be strong, off the rip with it, because we can see them so we can attack them. Depression is a cowardly disease. It can only win if you hide it. And you took your mask off today, and I immediately knew I got him, because I can see it now, because you identify it so we could treat it. But we don't have to do it with medicine. You get with him. Hey, your pain, look, he got it too. So do I. You'll be good. You got resources. None of us is therapists, but we doing bootleg therapy up here with spirituality.
Hey, right here. We got that all day.
Get it all. Get it all out. Get it all out.
We got that all day, man.
Can you stay?
Man.
Stay with me up here.
We got that all day, man.
Cause he'll rub off on you. You need to get up.
Yeah.
So,
No, you got
just call the number on there, man. We got resources for you. You're not by yourself. I appreciate you for saying that, cause you're not the only one wearing a mask.
Yeah, right.
While they clapping, they got one too, but I can see through it.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah, we got you. All right, we're turning the corner. We're about done here. We have one more thing that we're going to close out on in terms of balancing work and family. I need to check in. Have we hit everybody? Is there a vendor in here that we have not touched? Neil's out. Yeah. Impact?
La Frontera? You are here? Do you guys want to speak?
Yeah, come on, speak.
Come on, speak.
Come on. Welcome. Oh, she's in my workshop. She has to go speak.
me.
No way. My sister. I keep telling her to go back and get it. Yeah. What's her?
Okay.
Okay, I was not prepared for this today. I'm going to tell you that right now. We're back here from La Frontera Impact, and we are behavioral health services for children and families. So I'm just running through my roster of what's going to be the most important. We do have our massive representation of our Birth to 5 team here. So they work with our kiddos from birth, prenatal, up to 5. I am a coordinator for our school-based services, so we provide behavioral health services in 9 different schools. We also have a partnership with the Phoenix Conservatory of Music, which is the best place anyone could ever be. It fills your soul just to enter the building. But one thing that I think is really important to talk about is our Family Support Partner Program. You can tell I'm really nervous because I was not prepared, but that's okay. So our family support partners, they work with the goal of unifying families or reunifying families. Anytime we have a DCS case, it is part of our responsibility to make sure that reunification is the #1 goal for everybody. Regardless of who they are, where they come from, what the case is about, we want to make sure that that child has every opportunity to succeed. And just like everybody has talked about today, that means having parents or having consistent caregivers in their life, providing that dosage of positive interaction. So that's about all I can think of, but we do provide counseling services, psychiatric services. We have a 24-hour crisis line where our mobile crisis can respond. We offer, like I said, in-school services. Our aim is to provide a service in whatever way is safest and easiest for the family. So that includes virtual appointments, in person, in home. We are pretty much all home visitors, because we will do whatever it takes to make sure family is successful. So please feel free to walk up to any of us over there. We have 3 of our coordinators are here, but we are always accepting referrals, always here to help, provide any therapeutic interventions, advice. That's what we're here to do. We are social workers, so we are clearly not in it for any kind of money. We are here because this is what we want to be. This is where we want to be. And we want to make sure everyone has every single chance to be successful. All right. I'm very excited to read one of these off. All right, so we have 622040. Who got it? Oh, okay. Thank you so much. Oh, one more?
You got another one?
I feel like Vanna White right now. I wish I had something to display. We have 622097. All right.
And I just want to say one thing. Nurturing Fathers is an amazing program, and if you're in an organization that does not have Nurturing Fathers in your organization, please feel free to give me a call. Give my supervisor a call. We have flyers out here. If you want Nurturing Fathers in your organization, I just got a class going at Hushabye Nurseries. I'll be starting there in January. I have a play. We do it at Family Involvement Center. So if you have an organization and you want Nurturing Fathers class in your organization, I will land there and do that. So I want to fill up every day of the week with Nurturing Father classes in different locations all over the valley. So if you have a need, please reach out and let's get a class going.
It's pretty intense there, man. So Nurturing Fathers all over the place, like you said. So ManCave has currently got one going on now. We won't start up another one until January. It is 12 weeks with a 13-week being the graduation and the celebration. But it is intense. Both of us have gone through in our certified trainers. We've got some other certified trainers that are in here. In addition to Nurturing Fathers, we also do a marriage and parenting program, and I think the Family Involvement Center will be implementing marriage and parenting. We have ManCave does have a marriage and parenting. We have it in both English and Spanish, and have some fantastic facilitators. So.
Starting for that will be in January as well.
January, yeah, classes will be starting for that. So there's a lot of stuff that's going on that can get you involved. This conversation will continue. This is how we are going to end. Yes?
We have one more, Fulfilled Life
Oh,
Institute.
I forgot. Arizona Fulfilled Life Institute.
To say y'all forgot all about us, man. You know, just playing. My name is Chris Lewis. This is Erica, and we're representing Arizona Fulfilled Life Institute. Now, I'm not gonna lie, being here today and yesterday, I noticed there's been a lot of depression, a lot of trauma about the things we talked about, and the things that these men have been through, and it made me realize, like, life is long, bro. Like, I'm only 23, and I got a long way to go, but like, I realize you all need a coach. You know, you need somebody to push you. You need somebody to inspire you. You need somebody to keep it real with you. Like how these men up here, they've been coaching us. This is basically what we're doing with this organization. And to me, it's more than that. It's a family. It's a community that's located here in South Phoenix that really cares about the people in their community, people they know and people they don't. And the main 5 areas that we offer are career, community, family, finances, and self-management. And this is a program that I went through while I was in school, and I'll tell you this, if I didn't go through this, I wouldn't have the confidence to even be up here right now. Like, my mentor told me straight up a couple of days ago, he said, "You gonna be up here giving a speech?" I was like, hold on, like, I was like, that's not my thing, bro. But like, if it hadn't been for like those areas that we worked on and focused on together, and the love and compassion that they had for me with all the coaches as well as Erica, I wouldn't even be right here. So I think that just goes to show how much influence it's had on me and how much we can inspire the people in our community. So,
And I just want to add that our program is in South Phoenix, but you know, the same problems that one race faces, we all face, right? I'm Hispanic Latina, so the things that you guys faced, I may not have faced directly, but there's other things that I faced that go along with them. So let's come together, let's do this together so we can help the next generation. Absolutely. So thank you.
I'm reading 622058.
How many tickets you got?
He got a lot
You
of
only got
tickets.
one ticket?
You can't buy a win, brother. All right, Craig. It's all good.
The last one I got 622076.
It's all good, man. It's all good.
I ain't even get no tickets. I ain't know where it was.
I ain't either, but it's all good.
Winner?
076?
Okay.
He gonna cry.
Oh, you got it? Akil, you got 076? All right, cool. All right. I'm finishing up with our last one, which is work-life balance. And let's look at Juan here.
I immigrated to America when I was 20 from a country called Uruguay. I have 2 careers. I'm in the Army Reserves, and I have a civilian career as an engineer. And I have 2 wonderful children. Every day is a challenge to make sure that the time that I have, I spend with them. It doesn't matter how tired you are, you have to be there. You have to be present for them. You have to try to teach them when they learn something new and it just clicks in their brain. I just realized I could do this. And you can just see in their faces. It's such an incredible moment. It's those moments that are my favorite.
Work-life balance.
I suck
I'll
at
take
it.
Hello? Yeah, I'll take this one here. I think the biggest one for me is understanding that there isn't really, for me, a balance, because if I work 8 hours, there's so many hours within a day. So the important thing for me is to be in my planner and plan it and give time where time is needed. So my kids have a certain time frame. It might not be a full 8 hours, it might be 30, it might be an hour, but that is their time. Where I'm not on my phone, I'm just fully present in the moment, and I schedule that time. I write it down in my planner and then set a reminder inside of my phone to make sure that they get their time. Because there's only 24 hours in a day. We do need to sleep. So I think when things have to work in harmony for it to work, so making sure that you just schedule and block time off for things that are important, and don't go over your time, and make sure that you do your best to keep your time.
And real quick, just to add to that point, also just not taking work home, right? I think sometimes we take work home because we didn't get enough done for the day, but what's being sacrificed in the back part of it, right? And so, like you, same thing, just planning, just trying to make sure that I'm always doing something to make sure that I can keep them engaged as well, keep my time engaged, but also making sure that my child feels that love and support and like, oh, daddy's here and daddy's present as well. So to that point, yes, sir.
I know for me, it's complicated because, you know, I have 4 children, and they're all under the age of 13. So their needs are a lot. So it's kind of like I constantly battle with myself trying to balance, like, okay, I need to provide for you, but I also want to see you. Yeah. And it's at this point, like I say, you know, it's that building stage. And if anybody in here that's an entrepreneur, you know there is no days off in the beginning. So that work-life balance doesn't exist yet, but I look forward to it. Yeah. But that's the truth. Yeah. But what's more importantly is the resources they're gonna need. Yep. You know, so I've seen what it's like to not have the resources. I know how that works. And I just hope that, you know, and I'm honest with them, they understand, hey, this is what I'm doing for you, even if it's 15 minutes a day per child, but it's quality. You know, that's what's important, because that sacrifice has to be made, or it's going to be a sacrifice later on that I don't want them to have to make. So.
And one thing, and even if, you know, you say that you're going to be home after a summit and someone holds you hostage, and then, you know, just know when you get home to explain that, you know, someone needed my time here, and we're going to make it up.
All right.
Shots fired.
So a father is neither an anchor to hold us back, nor a sail to take us there, but a guiding light whose love shows us the way. I hope that over the course of the last 2 days, we've gone below the surface. I hope that over the last 2 days, we've given you information that would allow you to leave this place and you had an aha moment, that you had a revelation, that you leave this place having a desire to want to do more, to want to engage, to want to be a part of the network that we are trying to establish, that we call a fatherhood program. It is just that. It's the brotherhood of the fatherhood. That's what it is. It's a group of men coming together, and also having women that surround us, that support us, that support this work that we're doing. This work is not done. It's not done. And we are just now beginning. You know, the next stage of this is to continue to keep this conversation going to where we have a panel up here, and in front of us is nothing but a group of men. These are conversations that we need to have. And these are conversations that we are going to have. ManCave is fortunate. I was fortunate that I had individuals around me that supported the vision, that brought us to this place and to this point. But I believe that it is time for ManCave to move forward in a new realm, in a new reality, and that new reality is with other organizations that are moving in the same direction so that we can do bigger and greater things. So that we can do bigger and greater things. I continue to challenge you. I've latched on to FIC. I just have, and the work that is being done with Edward and with Sleepy, you can see it in these fathers that are here. I've latched on Thurston. You know, Thurston came through the Nurturing Fathers program, And he has an organization that is about teaching men how to step into the leadership, take on their leadership responsibility and the leadership role. That is important. This work that we do here, that I've done here with Michael Campbell, this work does not end. Because he just started, there's more to do. We sat in a restaurant, and he said, can I really stand in front of somebody and talk about what is important to men? My response to you today, my brother, hell yeah. So we want to continue this work. We just hope that we've just planted a seed inside of you, and we want that seed to grow. This is what I know from these men that are here and the men that I've talked to and the men that Nurturing Fathers has touched and the organizations that Nurturing Fathers has that ManCave has touched. This is what I always say. Look, it's my responsibility to plant the seed and to get ready for the harvest. I trust God to provide the rain. And once that happens, that's what we're doing. We want to be ready because it's not just about fathers. It's about the impact that fathers and mothers, by strategic parenting, co-parenting, have on kids. And for me, when I talk about boys and girls, I'm talking primarily boys because it's our boys that's falling behind. It's our boys that are going into schools and shooting up places. It's our boys that are abusing and doing things that they shouldn't have, that they shouldn't be doing. 269% greater opportunity to deal with firearms or to go to prison when a father is not engaged. 7 times, females, 7 times more likely to become pregnant when a father is not engaged. Fathers have an impact. And that's what ManCave is about. And that's what we will continue to be about. I ask you to just do me a favor. Make sure you fill out the survey. Make sure you see Latricia outside. Leave a comment about fatherhood. Leave a comment about what you've learned here over the last 2 days. I appreciate you for being here. I thank you for being attentive to us. To my panel members, my brothers, there are carts or baskets in front of you. Those are yours. Yes, you can walk away with those. And there should be no man, the ones that haven't been raffled off, the ones that are on the table, there should be no man that shouldn't be. You should be able to walk out of here with one of those. So if you see an empty one that's on the table, I need a man to pick it up, a father to pick it up, and a father to take it out of here. Go home and play with your kids. All right? Hey, we're going to do this again next year, but there'll be more to come. Look out for the newsletter, other stuff that's coming out. Thank you. Have a safe time home.